but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
I mean, I was soaking it all up, and now Machado unloads. Deep left field. Manny has left the building.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for March 3rd, 2026. If you're thinking, what is that? Is that something from a few years ago? No, that was Manny Machado about 1 hour ago. I would say maybe 45 minutes ago. Dominican Republic playing against the Tigers in the Dominican Republic. And Manny Machado hit a moonshot. And there was just another. Oh, actually, that wasn't out. I shouldn't have said anything. But Manny Machado hit a moonshot. And as Sam Levitt said before he signed off, we got our first lean back from Manny of the season. It was very nice. So go and look for that highlight. Fernando, let me just tell you what those two guys are doing so far in the World Baseball Classic. And this isn't an official game or anything, but I think we want to see them play well. And Fernando tonight, 3 for 3, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk. Manny, 1 for 2, monster home run. So things are good. Things are very, very good. We have a lot to talk about here on the Skraby Show tonight. We're going to go through some of the topics that we did not talk about in the Big Five, so I don't waste those topics. And I also think they're kind of fun to talk about. Kenneth Walker III is going to be a free agent. So that is interesting. After coming off of being the Super Bowl MVP, they're going to be letting him go. I'll talk about that later. Also, there's a story, and I don't know how I come about these stories. They're always, these weird stories are always popping up on my phone. And I woke up this morning and I checked my news and I got a news story that was perfect for us, for me, for the show. And it was a man was banned from taking a horse through a McDonald's drive-thru. And I'll tell you all about that story and see if anybody disagrees with the ban of the horse in the McDonald's drive-thru. I don't necessarily like it, but it's also in Montana, so I guess that's kind of what they do, is bring horses through drive-thrus. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But if you're just getting off work, if you're just tuning into sports for the first time today, lots happened. Padres beat the White Sox 4-3, but that's not the story. Nick Castellanos did a 2-run home run. Nick Pivetta pitched today, not well, but he pitched 3 innings, so nothing to sneeze at there. Not much to take from today's game. The big story, though, is Jurickson Profar. Now, Jurickson Profar, if you've been living under a rock today, because this news came out quick and it came fast, and everybody was like, it was lit on fire on the internet, and deservedly so, because this is kind of, I said this on Twitter. You can follow me, by the way, at Matt Skraby. But this is so disappointing for so many different reasons. Now, I don't think that this makes Jurickson Profar a bad dude. I don't think that at all. It makes Jurickson Profar someone, when in the future we talk about him, well, he was juiced. That's what it is. And this is the bed that he made. This is what happens when you are popped twice in 2 separate years, and you're suspended 80 games in the first year, suspended 162 games this time. He doesn't get paid any of that money. So all of the feel-good things that we said when Jurickson Profar signed with the Braves for the amount of money that he did, we were happy for him. Lifetime working towards that contract, and now it's gone. And so it's not really anything that anyone could have done except for Jurickson himself. He could have, and I don't really believe anything about, hey, I didn't know I was taking it. Now he hasn't said that, but I cannot fathom that Jurickson Profar had this, lapse of judgment 2 years in a row. And we'll talk about 2024 in just a second, but I love Foul Territory. If you're not watching Foul Territory on Twitter or Facebook or wherever it is, they always give great opinions. And AJ Przinsky, obviously former major league catcher, AJ Przinsky gave his immediate thoughts about Jurickson Profar.
Last year, remember, everyone's like, oh, he made a mistake. He didn't know what he put in his body. What happened this time? And I love Profar. I played with Profar when he first came up, but you can't have this happen. I'm sorry. Like, no matter what there's no excuse at this point. If you don't give me the excuse also of, oh, sometimes their trainers give them stuff and they just trust the trainer. If you've already been popped once, you damn sure better not trust your trainer again. Like, what are we doing? This is just now this just becomes blatant cheating, right? This is just blatant. I can outclass the system. I'm breaking the rules. I know what I'm doing. You missed the whole year. You cost yourself a bunch of money. I'm sorry. This is awful. This is just awful.
He says it everything that I wanted to say, but he said it much better. This is awful. And this is not something that Jurickson Profar wants anywhere near him, but he's the one who did it. So he's going to have to wear it. And it makes you think, like I put up on Twitter, if he had a career year in 2024 with the Padres, then he gets caught for PEDs his first year at the Braves, and then he gets caught for PEDs his second year with the Braves. What does that say about the 2024 season? And I got a bunch of different responses, like a lot of different responses. And I really thought some of them were pretty good responses, because I don't really... Are we supposed to say the 2024 season was a sham? Are we supposed to say the 2024 season was tainted because of Jurickson Profar and what he has been found out to be doing now? I think it's yes and no and maybe. It's all of that. I don't necessarily think that we can 100% say the 2024 season for Jurickson Profar with the Padres was a complete sham, because he did have to test those years. So it's not like he was getting out of the testing. And so that's the one thing that holds that 2024 season for me. It holds it in higher regard, because if he was doing this when he was with the Padres, then why didn't he get caught? It seems like he is not very good at hiding his tracks, but why did he must have been testing and passing. And so until we find out otherwise, I mean, someone on Twitter said it, hey, even if he did, it was still a fun season. What do we care? And that's true. That's true. What do we care? I mean, now we would care if he was with the Padres. And I remember sitting here saying on this very show, I am very nervous to give a older player a big contract after a career year late in their career. Like, that is something that scared me. And so we talk sometimes about how it feels like San Diego is jinxed, or it has a curse. Well, I think we have to go and recognize that this is a thing that didn't hurt the Padres. It didn't hurt San Diego. And so we have to realize that we got something good that happened to us. We have something good happening to us. So we got to recognize that. We got to recognize the bad, but we also have to recognize the good. And AJ Przinsky and what he's saying, and what Tony said earlier, go back to the Gwynn and Chris podcast or YouTube, and go to 3 hours in. That's when Tony showed up. But Tony said it as well as anyone could. As a former player, he said, I look at you and I'm like, hey, I'm doing it all by the book and you're not. So you kind of look at him with a little bit of a side eye after that. So I really, this is a big problem for the Braves. This is a big problem for Jurickson Profar. I know he's under contract next season with the Braves, but are you going to want him back if you're the Braves? Are you? I don't really know if I can hang my hat on Jurickson Profar anymore if I'm the Braves. I mean, last year you bring him in, you sign him to a big contract. He's your left fielder. Then he has to be suspended for 80 games. This year he's your DH. He's your cleanup hitter in some of the spring training games. And now they're looking for a DH and a cleanup hitter about 3 weeks before the season. I mean, not only is this something that hurts Jurickson Profar, but this is extremely, in my opinion, just my opinion, it's an extremely selfish thing to do, because you are not just hurting yourself, but you are hurting everyone else as well. And I guess I don't know if the clubhouse even wants to face him, but you heard Chris Domino earlier. Braves fans are not happy. Braves fans are kind of angry about this, which they should be angry about this. Because you're getting the rug pulled out from under your feet just a couple weeks before the season begins. And I love Jurickson Profar. Still do. Still fun guy, I guess. But for now, Jurickson Profar is kind of like the bad word for at least the next couple days when you talk about it. Because now, I see all the Dodgers fans out there, and I don't pay attention to it, but I see all the Dodgers fans who are posting, oh, well, man, Jurickson Profar did it. Fernando Tatis Jr. got caught for it. What's going on down there in San Diego? And that's going to happen. And unfortunately, that's going to happen. I don't like it. I don't like it. But as Sam said earlier, as a Padre fan, you could be happy that the Padres did not give him a contract, and we are not dealing with this right now. Captain DJ says, nobody liked when he left the Padres until he got tested, but nobody liked when he left until he got tested. That's true. I mean, once he got tested and he got popped the first time, it was like cleaning off my hands. I'm out of here. Anyway, all right. Just some of the thoughts on Jurickson Profar. If you would like to share your thoughts, you can go to the YouTube chat, and you could do that at the Skraby Show, at Gwynnig. Sorry, everybody. Let me start that over. It's been a long day. At the Skraby Show, at 97.3 The Fan SD on Twitter, at Matt Skraby on Twitter, and Facebook 97.3 The Fan. All right, when we get back, maybe a little bit more Jurickson Profar. We also have some, you know what? There is some more with Jurickson Profar. I'll talk about it when we get back here on the Skraby Show.
Ready to
Matt Skraby broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan. We are going to talk more Jurickson Profar because I got an update on my phone in the break from one Jeff Passan, who is, of course, why does this always happen? I have the tweet, I go to a different app, and then I come back and the tweet is gone. All right, here it is from Jeff Passan. This is now official, with MLB announcing that Jurickson Profar tested positive for exogenous testosterone. His 162-game suspension begins Friday. Profar could still appeal it. Last time a PED suspension was overturned via grievance was more than a decade ago. And someone asked Grok who that was, and it was Ryan Braun in 2012. He got his 50 games overturned. So that was the last time. It doesn't seem likely that Jurickson Profar is going to be able to win this sort of appeal, but he's going to have to try. I mean, what's the point of not? I mean, if you don't try, then you're just losing it. So you might as well try. Let's go to something on the chat real quick. Captain DJ says, do you remember when baseball was exciting with all the home runs like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and all that stuff? Do you consider that more enjoyable than baseball today? I grew up in the 80s and 90s during the steroid era, is how I would call it. My brother-in-law played with the Minnesota Twins. They had a 3-strike system when it came to check for steroids. Love this show. Wish it was longer. Thank you very much, Captain DJ. Eduardo says, sub Skraby, longtime listener. Thank you, Eduardo. Appreciate that. Let me go back to the question. Do I consider that era more enjoyable than baseball today? That's a great question. I feel like the steroid era was exciting because everyone was doing it. And so you had home runs flying out of the park left and right. But there is something to knowing that they were doing it with performance enhancers that I don't like. I would much rather see everybody do it without the performance enhancers. I appreciate strategy. Like, I don't need a ton of home runs to be entertained by a game. I think there are some really entertaining games when it's just a pitcher's duel and the defense being played. I can understand why people liked the steroid era because it was a lot of scoring. There was a lot of monster home runs, and people really like that about baseball. But I think I would prefer maybe not today's era. I don't really know what era I would prefer, but it's definitely not the steroid era. That's not the type of baseball I want to see. I want to see baseball where everybody's on an equal playing field. And I think that's more important to me than a bunch of home runs. But I understand why the steroid era appealed to fans. I really do. But there's also that whole thing where it's really bad for your body, and they're doing terrible things to themselves for the gain of of some home runs, and in the end, it's not great for your body. So I can't stand up for the steroid era in that way. But if everybody's going to do it, then the steroid era had it right, because you had the opportunity to take performance enhancers, and if you didn't, seems like you were behind. Seems like you were very behind. All right. There was a comment here, and I did not see it. I can't see it anymore. Oh, someone said idiot, and then I was like, is that me? No, it was for Profar, which is fair. Oh, Fuzzy says, hi, Skraby. First time listener to your show. I do catch y'all on Gwen and Chris. Thank you very much. All right. Dominican Republic has defeated the Detroit Tigers 12-4. It was a slow burn for the poor Tigers. They were just getting crushed this entire game. And now there was a sequence in this game where it was Tatis RBI double, Soto 2-run homer, Manny solo homer. And that never seemed to happen when the Padres had Juan Soto. It never seemed to happen when the Padres had Juan Soto. Not once. It didn't seem like they ever put something like that together. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Man, it seems like it's always around this time. I don't know what it is. But always around this time, I start sneezing, which is a terrible time for it. At least come in the break and let me sneeze in the break. Jeez. My goodness. That was annoying. All right. Let's talk about some of the other. I've talked all about the Padres. We could talk today. So if you would like to hear more about Jurickson Profar and all of that, you can go back to the 2 p.m. hour of Gwen and Chris. Sammy and Skraby had it for you. We talked all about all the different directions. Now, here's the thing that I saw this morning that kind of just like made me raise my eyebrows. Like, why? What's the point? And it's Tarek Skubal. He has a pitch limitation for the World Baseball Classic, and it's going to be 55 pitches. So he's taken up a roster spot, and he's only going to throw 55 pitches in the second game. Logan Webb is set to start the first game against Brazil, I believe, on Friday night. But Tarek Skubal is only going to throw 55 pitches. And he's one of the best pitchers in the world, obviously. And I would love for him to be on Team USA. But what's the point? Like, I don't understand this. I really don't. Like, if you're going to be on the team, be on the team. If you're going to be on the team, throw 55 pitches and then go home, I'm not necessarily a fan of that. Now, if the other players on the team don't really care, then fine. Then that's fine. But I just don't know. Well, he explains it like, hey, it's not anything to do with the free agency coming up next year. I'm not worried about that. What I'm actually worried about is my arm and where I'm at in the season. And we're in spring training. I'm not fully stretched out yet. I don't want to go full bore and throw hundreds of pitches in the World Baseball Classic and then be tired for the regular season. I understand that. I really do. But everybody has to go through that too. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird because he's so good that you want him on the team, but the 55 pitches and one appearance thing bothers me. And it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I mean, a lot of things that bother me really shouldn't bother me. But I feel like that spot could have been opened up to someone else. He wants it. Tarek Skubal mentioned that he wants it in the middle of the season, which is what hockey did with the Frozen Four, the World Four, or whatever it was called, with the hockey where they took off like a month. I don't think that can happen. There's no way you could take off a month in the middle of a baseball season to play a World Baseball Classic. Unfortunately, this is the only time on the schedule that it works. And I don't see a way around that. I don't see them being able to move it somewhere else. I don't see them being able to move it right after the All-Star break. It's just always going to have to be played before the year. It's just the best time. Like, no one wants to play it after the season's over. They just went through an entire 162 plus playoffs. Why would they want to go and do that? So this is the spot for it. And it's not going to change. Even if the players wanted to change, this is the only way it will work. Trevor says midseason is possible, 2 weeks, no All-Stars. But what do you do? The thing that I think of first is like owners aren't going to want to lose all that money. And then what do you do? Do you push it further into November, the season, the World Series? You can't do that because some of these places it's snowing. Dominic said should have delayed it for a year and played next year when they're going to be locked out. That is a good idea. They're going to be playing no baseball, so why don't they play it next year in the World Baseball Classic? I don't even know if they get paid for the World Baseball Classic. That's something I'm going to have to go and look up because I would assume, I don't know how that works. I would assume they're playing for free, right? Because I don't even think the NBA players get money for the Olympics. So I would assume that they're going to be playing or they're going to be doing it for free. which is crazy because these guys are world-class athletes and they're just playing for the love of the game, man. I just looked up at the TV. Boise State is leading San Diego State with 9 minutes to go in the first half, 22-7. So not great. Not great. Clay says, Skraby, if the pitch limit was publicized, I think you meant wasn't publicized, would you still be upset? If the pitch limit wasn't publicized, if he pitched once and wasn't hurt or anything, it didn't come back, then I think the internet sleuths would be all over this, and I would not be happy with that. And again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. And maybe if he's on the Padres, I'm like, whoa, what a smart guy. I doubt that, but you never know. I would love to have Tarek Skubal in or with the Padres. Everybody would. But would I want him to pitch in the World Baseball Classic? Yes, I would. But the pitch limit was publicized, and so yes, that is why I'm a little bit angry. But I would figure out something weird was happening when he only pitched 3 innings of the entire World Baseball Classic. Okay, Aztecs, not good. Jurickson Profar, not good. Nick Castellanos, good. 2-run home run today against the White Sox. Padres win. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some sports around some news around sports. And that's if I learn how to talk on 97.3 The Fan.
#1 sports station, broadcasting live from the Bill Howe Studios. We know how.
So we told you this DR team is stacked. Nando already aboard. It's Perdomo's first, and now Nando trying to change that deep to left field and off the base of the wall. Green's got to get it in. Perdomo got a great jump. He's on his way in. Tie ball game.
A little foreshadowing on your part
There you go. Fernando looking like he is in mid-season form right now. He went 3 for 3 tonight. Am I making a big deal about a meaningless World Baseball Classic exhibition? Yes, but I don't care because Fernando doing great things. Matt Skraby with you, 97.3 The Fan. And I just did some research in the break, and they do get paid. I'm talking about players for Major League Baseball in the WBC. They do get paid participation pay in my quick research. Every team gets $300,000. Well, this was in 2023, so the money might have gone up, but this is what I could find on the short notice. Every team receives a base payment to participate, which is split between the National Federation and the players' staff. Additional prizes are awarded for winning the pools, advancing to quarterfinals, semifinals, and winning the championship. Players on the championship team can receive significant bonuses, with 2023 reports suggesting roughly $50,000 per player for the winners. And that's about it. But so, yes, they do get paid. It's not anywhere near what they get paid to play baseball, but they're also not playing that many games. So they do get paid. They do. Ma asked, WBC makes a lot of money. If the players don't get paid, who profits? I was going to say the billionaires, but that's not true because they do get paid. So we don't have to worry about that. Matt Skraby. Did I already say that? I think I said it. On the highlight right there, you heard the guy say Nando. Where are we at with the nickname Nando? I don't know. I know a lot of people call him Nando. I'm not saying it's a bad nickname. I just feel like I can't pull off Nando. I feel like Nando doesn't fit me. I got to call him Fernando or Toddy or something like that. But Nando just, you have to be a certain type of person, certain type of cool if you're able to bring up Nando and get away with it. We are going to have a daily gripe here at the end of the show. And we already talked about Max Clark and his chains and criticism. We talked about that at 4:30 today. If you don't know, just Google Max Clark Tigers and you'll find out all about it. But here are some of the other news stories that we got going today. Adam Schefter reported earlier today the Seattle Seahawks are not expected to tag Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III, who is now poised to become an unrestricted free agent when the new league year opens. If the Seahawks did tag him, he would make $14.293 million, which would tie him for fifth highest paid running back in the league, alongside recently tagged, as in tagged today, Jets running back Breece Hall. My original question in the Big Five was, are they going to regret this if they let him go? And I think the answer is yes. Now, running backs can be found, but I don't know that running backs like Kenneth Walker can be found very easy. And I think that $14.293 million is a worthwhile expense to bring back your Super Bowl MVP and to bring back a guy who was very important to your team all season long. Now, I was reading some Seattle stuff, and they were saying maybe they are not doing this so they can re-offer him a contract and maybe structure it differently, but it sounds like they're going to let him go. I just don't see why. Kenneth Walker is a good player, and Zach Charbonnet ripped up his knee at the end of the year in the playoffs, so I can't expect him to be ready. Like this doesn't make sense unless they have some other sort of plan going on. But I don't think $14.293 million is an unfair price to pay for a running back that's going to get you far during the season. Now, I don't know the rest of the contract situation with the Seahawks. So it could be that they're just really up against the cap and they can't do that. They just can't pay him that franchise tag money. But they're going to have to do some. I mean, it seems like the Chiefs every single year free up money with Patrick Mahomes' contract by moving it around. So maybe Seattle could do something like that. I really think that this could be a mistake for the Seahawks if they do make this decision to cut ties with Kenneth Walker the third. Carson Beck. Now we know him. He was a quarterback in college football, and he was with Miami this year, went to the national championship. And you know where they have the combine, right? They have it in Indianapolis. What team beat Miami? Indiana. And here's what happened when he showed up at the NFL combine. The guy was booed at the NFL combine. I don't understand why he was booed at the NFL combine. This is crazy. Number one, Indiana won the game. So they won the national championship. There's nothing to be mad at Carson Beck for. I know there's a whole thing with the handshake after the game, but get over it, people. Not that big of a deal. I just have never heard any player at the combine booed like Carson Beck. And I don't know if that is something that he likes. I don't know if that's something that he feeds off of. I don't know if any of that is what he really wants to be hearing. Maybe it fuels him a little bit. Who knows? I don't get the Indianapolis people right there doing the whole booing thing of Carson Beck. John Rahm. I'm going through a lot of stories right now. I realize that. John Rahm. He's a live golf star. Now, the European tour is called the DP World Tour. And there was like some sort of discussion going on where DP World Tour and Live would come together so that some of the Live golfers could go play in these DP World Tour events. And they would have to play a certain amount of events, which ended up being they had needed to play a minimum of 6 events annually, 2 of which the tour would select, and 8 Live golfers accepted this conditional deal, but John Rahm rejected it, arguing, hey, it used to be a minimum of 4 events, which I am willing to play, but I do not want to play 6 events. Quote, I don't know what game they're trying to play right now, but it just seems like they're using our impact in tournaments and finding us and trying to benefit both ways. In a way, they're extorting players like myself and young players that have nothing to do with the politics of the game. Now, the DP World Tour, I looked at it. They have like 42 events. So 6 events of 42, if I'm doing my math correctly. 14% of events they're asking him to play in. Here's where I used to really like John Rahm. And this is why I don't understand why Chris has such a problem with Rory McIlroy, because Rory McIlroy stuck with the PGA Tour. He didn't take the bait and go to Live and leave the PGA Tour in kind of not ruins, but you know what I'm saying. So that's why I don't understand why Chris is so against Rory McIlroy, but he's not against John Rahm. John Rahm took the money and ran, and now that he is not happy with, now that he's played some Live tournaments and he's done the Live thing and he doesn't like it, all the guy does is complain. The guy is making more money than anyone could ever imagine. And all this dude does is complain. And I can't stand it. I can't. And again, I used to be a John Rahm fan. I thought he was fun. He was edgy because he used to get really mad on the golf course. He would, swear at himself and all that. But all that really is telling me now is that maybe he's just a jerk. Maybe he's just a guy who just wants it his way all the time. And sometimes I think athletes get a little bit ahead of themselves because they think that they are owed everything. And I am on the side of the athlete when it comes to billionaires not spending money. The billionaires that own teams should spend money on the athletes. But you can't have everything. I mean, you've already got life so good. You're playing professional golf. You've already got hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. Why complain? Why? All these other guys accepted it. They didn't care. So because you, John Rahm, did not want to deal with it, you're going to make a big deal? I got to bring this up for Chris. Clay says they seem to make more money on live than they would ever get by just winning on the PGA. Well, the contract for them is where they're making their money. It was rumored that John Rahm's contract with live was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Now we don't know exact numbers on live contracts, but it was definitely reported he was making in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So that is why I think John Rahm went to live golf. But you're sacrificing a lot. You're sacrificing, I think they just got world golf points at live for some tournaments, but you're sacrificing a lot. You are sacrificing the major championships basically, because once you play yourself out of those, if you don't win or you come in top 10, you don't have enough points to qualify. And I really, in the end, think that John Rahm knows he made the wrong decision, even though there was a lot of money on the line. And that's why he complains all the time. All right, let's see. A couple more minutes to go until we get to the daily gripe. Joseph, random question, but if you could be a superstar in any sport, what would you choose? That's a good question. I think I'm just going to answer from when I was a kid, because I really, really, really wanted to be a San Francisco 49er. And I think it would be really, really cool to be a superstar quarterback in the NFL. I have loved football forever. And, I was actually better at baseball, but I decided to go the football direction, which, I wasn't going to go pro in baseball or anything like that, but I was a better player at baseball than football. So maybe I should have gone in that direction. If you're a baseball superstar, you're making a ton of money. Like if you're a baseball superstar, you could be making what Shohei's making, or you could be making what Juan Soto's making. Same goes with the NBA. Now, I'm not really a big fan of the NBA and how they do things, and I wouldn't want to be a superstar in that league because I'm not really into the NBA game that much. But I would think that football quarterback, you're not making a ton of money, but you're making enough money. But maybe the answer, if we're looking at it financially, the answer is probably baseball superstar, because you can make a lot of money. You also have to play a lot of games. So we can't forget that either. Let me know in the chat what you would choose. Aztecs, I just looked up again. Aztecs they were down by like 15 earlier when I told you, but now with 19 seconds left in the half, they are down 32-25. So they've played some good defense. They've scored, and they are going to go into halftime. I believe there was a 3 and the Aztecs got the rebound, but for some reason the referees are discussing something. I'm not sure what they're discussing, but they call foul on San Diego State, which kind of seems a little ridiculous, let me tell you. All right, this story that I told you about earlier, his name is Alan Hatch. He has 2 horses named Cole and Onyx, and they went through the McDonald's drive-thru in Montana. And the McDonald's drive-thru said that they are banned, or he is banned with his horses going through the manager of the drive-thru. This guy said, Hatch said, I was told there was a company policy precluding having livestock in the drive-thru for purposes of liability. The one thing that the manager was very clear about is, quote, what happens if they bleep in my drive-thru since there's no one to clean it up? End quote. This manager got scolded by McDonald's because McDonald's said, sir, you are allowed to go through the drive-thru with your horses. And so they went over this manager's head, and it was not cool. It was not great for the manager. But he makes a great point. A really, really great point. And you know what? I actually am going to ditch my daily gripe because this happened to me the other day, and I'll bring it to you.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
Dominic said he would do tennis if he was a superstar in any sport. I mean, I guess I should have chose golf because I really honestly would love to be a golfer as well. Pro golfer. But branching off of this McDonald's story, I sometimes, when the traffic's bad going 5 north, I sometimes go through the side streets, Rancho Santa Fe area to just cut off time and keep moving. I don't like traffic because you have to keep stop and go. I'd rather just move. Even if I'm going 35 miles an hour, I'd rather just move. But in Rancho Santa Fe, and I know it's a really wealthy part of the country, the world, I'm just driving through. I have no houses or anything in there. But Rancho Santa Fe is full of horse manure everywhere. And I was at a stop sign the other day, and there was a group of horses that came by with 3 people. And as they're walking across the street, the horse decides to start using the bathroom like in front of my car in the sidewalk. Who cleans that up? That's my daily gripe. Why do I have to get on my hands and knees with a little flimsy bag to pick up my dog stuff, but the horse people don't have to pick up the horse stuff? Isn't that way worse? Isn't it way worse to have horse stuff on the street than it is to have dog stuff on the street? And horse stuff is big. There's a lot of it. So I've never understood this, and that's my daily gripe. When people let horses go to the bathroom wherever they want. It's kind of a ridiculous gripe. It's kind of out there, but I've been doing this show for 2 years now, and I have to come up with a gripe every night. So this is my gripe because I do feel this inside. I do. I like horses. I think horses are cool. I've been on a few horses. Actually, last time I was in Hawaii, like 15 years ago, I rode a Clydesdale named Tiger Woods. But you'd need to get a diaper on those things or something because it is gross. And then I was like, am I missing it or am I picking it up in my tires? Is it going to kick up under my car? Is it going to be dirty? All of the above. All of the above. Halftime in Boise, San Diego State Trails 34-27. Chris is going to be back tomorrow. So no more Sammy and Skraby until next week. Appreciate everybody being here with us. Actually, real quick comment on the chat. In RSF, they probably have their own crew that residents pay special for. You might be right about that. Thank you to everybody for listening. Back with you tomorrow. Have a great night. We'll talk then.